Hi, this is Tammie with the Sonoma North Bay Home Expo, and welcome to the podcast, the Home Expo Podcast. We are here with Julian Clymer with Rural First Lending, and I'd like to turn it over to Julian for his expertise on rural land lending. Julian, what exactly does your company do?
Hey there. Good day, everybody. Again, Julian Clymer with Rural First and Farm Credits. We're a consumer lending division of the Farm Credit System, partnering with American Aid Credit to deliver consumer resources and capital for buying land, building homes and ADUs through our construction products, and purchasing rural homes. And so essentially, we are a lender that will be a great resource and an opportunity that maybe was once a difficult or a pain point within the lending ecosystem in rural properties in Northern California, where we're coming in with new solutions that many consumers might find novel and interesting. And so that's why I'm here today with you, Tammie, and why I'm excited to be at the North Bay Home Expo here in a couple months to talk to folks about what we can do to help.
Awesome. Thank you. And what exactly is a rural property? I mean, some people think, you're driving down the 5 and you see just endless pieces of land. What would you consider a rural property?
Absolutely. So as part of the Farm Credit System and the bank that we are, we can lend on agriculturally zoned properties, rural zone properties, and residential zone properties. But the most important thing for consumers and prospects to remember is that our products through Rural First are best available to folks interested in purchasing something in an unincorporated part of their county. So essentially, there are a basket of lenders, local credit unions, conventional banks, and programs that are available within the city limits for more traditional residential purposes. And that's great. What we're looking to do at Rural First is complement that by offering a solution and financing possibilities for anyone interested in living outside the city limits. And so that'll include all those beautiful green rolling hills that you see as you're going down the highway, as well as, maybe some forest or mountain properties where you want to pull the fifth wheel out and take it up there for the weekend with the kids and have a chance to go out and explore the outdoors. Or maybe you've always wanted to pursue your dream of homesteading and starting a small farmer operation, maybe having, some livestock on the property and pursuing some of your entrepreneurial endeavors and, learning with your family as they grow through programs like FFA and 4-H and Ag in the Classroom. And so that's where we really believe we want to get consumers involved. And here in Sonoma County, where I live and where you're here, Tammie, I think that we do a great job of inviting, folks up from the Bay Area to come and enjoy those farm trails that are available up here. And so we want more individuals to be able to participate in that in the years to come. And so that's why we're here offering these financial solutions, for being able to achieve kind of those different dreams, both recreational purposes for agriculture, as well as, purchasing land so that you can go ahead and enjoy the outdoors, hunting, fishing, things like that.
Yeah, it seems like more and more people are getting more into growing their own food, homesteading, like you talked about. I mean, with the pandemic and how the grocery stores weren't stocked as much, a lot of people are starting to bring that old time live off the land kind of lifestyle. I mean, like you said, people who want to hunt or fish or grow their own food. What do you think the benefits of owning property would be as far as maybe generational wealth or maybe aging in place? Do you see that as being one of the benefits to owning your own land? Or do you see more people buying land and putting something like an ADU or building their own home on that land? What do you see happening for the future for landowners?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question, Tammie. Thank you. Legacy planning, or maybe I'll kind of touch on 3 points. The first being legacy planning, the second being diversification of one's assets, and then the third kind of touching on really that migration post COVID into life balance and kind of how we perceive the future of families and food security here in the U.S. Really. So on legacy planning, I think that we are going through a very clear generational shift again. And there are a number of people that have moved to the Bay Area who may own a home or they may be renting an apartment and they have always wanted to own a home or own land. And with that land gives an immense amount of flexibility. What we've done at Farm Credit is by someone purchasing 10 acres, or 20 acres up in the Northern Bay counties here, they have the capacity, they have the capability to farm. They have finally purchased their ticket to participate in agriculture in these communities, to continue to educate their children about where food comes from and the importance of supporting, these disciplines and helping shape both the legacy of their family and the political future, here in California. So I think that that's a really important role that we play as consumers moving forward, voting with those dollars and saying, hey, you know what? We do want to purchase rural lands. We want to try and grow some of our own food. And we want our children and the generations to come to understand how critical that is to the infrastructure that we're working with here and the ecosystem that we participate in these and the communities that we're forming here. So that's on the legacy planning piece. Now, second, diversification of portfolios. Many people have a large retirement portfolio locked up in, the Magnificent Seven, and they've got, a number of things perhaps in other parts of the stock market or money market funds. You may have some bonds in that portfolio, but how much of that portfolio is real estate? And, is it just the mortgage on a conventional home in town? Or are you interested in, where that legacy planning for the future and those assets will be? So we engage with families who are frequently buying land and placing it into a trust, for example.
Oh, wow. I didn't
There,
know you could do
there,
that.
there are tax reasons where that's possible. And also, there's a lot of wealth that's been created here in the Bay Area. And, does everybody need another tranche of stocks in that portfolio? Or would we like to see perhaps if a bear market begins, there's a decent chance that the real estate portfolio that you would own would continue to grow in a different space. And so I think that that's, the mentality. If you only have a little bit of money or you have a lot of money, that diversification of your portfolio and assets is extremely important to your longevity and your staying power, as well as, being able to prosper from that and potentially even start your own small farm business. Folks see what happens at the farmers markets. They love to attend as a consumer, but I think there is an immense amount of worth and education that can happen from starting a small business, participating on main streets and getting out there to that market on Wednesday mornings and selling eggs or flowers or, maybe some meat that you have butchered off your property, because that's the best way that we can continue this dialogue about the food security and continue to educate, our nation's youth on where those things are coming from. And then that third point, I suppose, is again, that migration post-COVID, folks trying to find that life balance. And we at Rural First are here to help support that. We're looking for folks that might even own a property in the Bay Area, have the wealth possibilities to purchase lands as well. So there once was a time where it had to be one or the other. But fortunately, you and I are talking virtually here today. We didn't have to meet out in Sebastopol to do this. Our colleague who set it up is somewhere out in Florida, and
Yeah.
we're broadcasting this out to
Yep.
not only the North Bay area on a radio station, but somebody, in anywhere across
Everywhere.
the country and across the world can hear it. And so we
Yeah.
want to spread that message here at Rural First that it's not mutually exclusive any longer. You have the ability for remote work. And so why not purchase that dream property that you've been looking for up in Mendocino County, buy a nice quarter of 160 acres in the hills, and then one day build a house out there, have a place to spend time and raise your family. And you can split your time, between the Bay Area and these rural properties to the north. And so there's an immense amount of opportunity on the horizon because of that. There are a number of industries in the north that have changed, and it has really opened up the market for new entry for consumer individuals that are looking to build homes on those properties in the north, ADUs, and just have something that really gives them flexibility and insurance in their asset base as they plan for their family's future.
So, how does the land appreciate or depreciate when we have lulls in the market for housing? Does it go up and down like that for housing, or is it different for landowners?
A great question, Tammie. Rural First operates in a little over 20 states now across the U.S., and Farm Credit, of course, is available in all 50 states. Our consumer products, as part of this vision, were really birthed out of a time of duress, and I say that because back with the Dodd-Frank Act continuing through a lot of the 2008 crisis, there was a need in consumer lending for this level of compliance to make sure that there was security in what banks and mortgage teams were offering to individuals. And what has happened is Rural First has been able to grow through that time because eventually the federal charter for farm credit said, hey, we want to secure the future of rural communities and agriculture. That's always been the mission. The agriculture piece has been very strong for many decades, over a century, in fact. And the part of the mission to secure the future of rural communities has wavered. And thus, to return to your question about these ups and downs, we believe the future and what we've seen over the last 20 years has been nothing but appreciation of those real estate assets, particularly in rural communities. And that's across all states. It's not just exclusive here to California. Now, when we talk about California real estate in general, yes, there are big dips and valleys, both in the topographic landscape as well as the asset-based landscape here in California. I owned a home in the Central Coast during that crash back in 2008, and we lost about 20 or 30% of that value, and it took some time to come back. The better part of 10 years, and so the good news is bare land tends to shelter its way through those crises much differently, and so rural properties, because the function of their value and worth isn't tied as much to the residential real estate market, we tend to see a bit of disparity during those times where we actually see a bit of an uptick where you may otherwise see properties fall. So moving forward in the North Bay area, if you take the string and pull it taut over the last 10 years, as you might imagine, real estate is outpacing both inflation as well as the S&P 500. And so it does make much more sense to move your resources into purchasing land and building rural homes or building ADUs, for that purpose. And we're really excited to be here. This is a brand new program in California, thanks to our partners at American Ag Credit. And so some of the products we'll talk about in our loan terms and structures may seem too good to be true. But that's because we've been able to prove them in the other states that we've worked through and our other partnerships. And finally it's coast to coast. And so we've arrived. And California has always been the one that makes you scratch your head and say, okay, this is exciting, but there are a number of challenges that come with entering a market like this. And so I'll mention quickly, there's a team of 6 of us now across the state who are helping as part of Rural First to deliver this capital, deliver this message to consumers about purchasing rural homes and buying land and building.
Wow, that's amazing. There's so many opportunities for home ownership, for land ownership. There's so many more opportunities for individuals to invest in generational wealth, be more part of their community, be more of service to their community. And this is just one of the ways where we can offer that, through I'm hoping it's easy financing. And yeah. So Julian, I really want to thank you for joining us today. It's been amazing learning about this new program that again is all across the state and all across the United States. And we're so happy to hear that it's not just a, hey, buy land so we can make money. It's here's the benefits of owning your own land. A lot of people don't realize owning land is coming up. There's so many more things that we can do, especially with people more interested in agriculture and homesteading. So,
and I'm not a Bay Area native myself. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, came to school in California, and then got picked up on the waiver wire and landed here in the Bay Area back in 2015. And the community in the North Bay, both in Sonoma, Napa, Mendocino, Humboldt, Marin, all the above, has been very welcoming and very supportive of my career and my vision and my drive to be able to participate in the things that are happening here. And so I hope to be able to share that with other individuals who want to, purchase that property, maybe start a small farm business, or at least be farm adjacent and support those communities through fundraising, ag education, Farm Bureau. The Young Farmers and Ranchers group through Farm Bureau has been instrumental in my, personal growth and professional growth as well. And so I think that the more individuals we can bring out to those organizations and those community groups creates a lot of strength for the future, not only of, you and I, but those families we're interacting with. So thank you very much for the opportunity today, Tammie.
Yes.
And if anybody has any more questions about our financing opportunities, we'll be there at the North Bay Home Expo to answer them.
Thank you again, Julian, for coming out to the podcast and talking us through Rural First lending and how we can purchase our own land. We really enjoyed having you on the show. If you have any comments or questions for Julian, you can put them down below in the comments box. Remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time on the podcast.